Now we get practical. Nitrogen monoxide confusion. Nitrogen monoxide guessing. A clear system. I call the self-directed growth loop. 4 steps. Simple, but powerful. Step 1. Observe. You start by watching yourself, your results, your environment. What is working? What is not? No emotion, just truth. Jung believed awareness is the first step to change. Sulfur monoxide, you observe without judgment. Step 2. Question now, you ask. Why is this happening? What am I missing? What can I improve? Machiavelli taught that a wise man studies reality deeply before acting. So you question deeply, not quickly. Step 3. Test now, you act. Small steps. Clear actions. You try something new. You adjust your behavior. You experiment. Freud believed behavior reveals truth. So you don't just think, you test. Step 4. Reflect now, you review. What worked? What failed? What did I learn? Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself daily, to understand his actions, to improve his thinking. Reflection builds clarity, and clarity builds progress. Now repeat. AGAIN. And again. This loop never ends. This is how self-taught men grow. Now let's add depth. Ask better questions. Questions shape answers. Arthur Ellis said thinking patterns create results. So ask questions like, what skill will move my life forward most right now? What problem can I solve today? What am I avoiding? What am I pretending not to know? Be honest. Because honesty with yourself is the foundation of growth. Now listen to your answers. Are they clear or excuses? Are they action-based or comfort-based? This tells you everything. Now one more thing. Focus. Do not try to learn everything. Pick one thing. Go deep. Master it. Then move to the next. Plato believed depth creates understanding, not surface knowledge. Now remember this. Self-taught does not mean perfect. IT means consistent. Small steps, every day. Over time, that is how power is built. Now in the final part, we bring it all together. What this path really gives you, and why IT separates you from everyone else. Now you understand the process. But what does IT lead to? Real power. Not loud power. Quiet power. First, you become You don't wait. You don't wait. You don't depend. You act. You solve. You move. Epictetus taught that freedom comes from controlling what is yours. And your mind is yours. Second, you become adaptable. You don't break under change. You adjust. You learn. You grow. Darwin showed that survival belongs to those who adapt. Self-taught men live this truth. Third, you gain clarity. You see patterns. You understand people. You understand yourself. Jung believed that knowing yourself is the highest form of power. Because nitrogen monoxide, one can control what you understand. Fourth, you build real confidence. Not talk. Not image. Proof. You know you can figure things out. Because you've done it before. Again and again. That is unshakable. Now here is the final truth. Self-taught men rule, not because they are better, but because they are free. Free from blind following. Free from dependence. Free from waiting. They think. They act. They adapt. And that makes them Rada Nietzsche Said. Become who you are. That is the path. Not copying. Not following. Becoming. Step by step. Now ask yourself, are you waiting? Or are you building? Are you consuming or creating? Are you following or thinking? Be honest, because your answer is your direction. And direction decides everything. This is male psyche, and this is how self-taught men rise. Something real. You gave your time. You gave your effort. You trusted the system. School. Teachers. Advice from people who said, this is the way. You followed. You listened. You waited. You did what you were told. And still, something felt off. Not loud. Not clear. Just a quiet feeling in your chest. Like you were doing everything right, but moving nowhere. Like you were building a life that didn't belong to you. That feeling matters, because that is the moment a man starts to wake up. Not fully. Just enough to question. And that question is dangerous. Because once you ask, you cannot go back. Carl Jung said. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But nitrogen monoxide 1 tells you this part. You cannot become who you are if you are living from borrowed thinking. Most men never see this. Do HY because of 3 patterns. The first is authority bias. You trust what you are told because it comes from someone in power. A teacher. A system. A degree. You assume they know better. So you stop thinking for yourself. Freud explained this. The mind seeks safety, and authority feels safe, even when IT limits you. The second pattern is the approval trap. You want to be seen as doing well, so you follow the path that gets approval. Good grades, safe job, predictable life. But approval is not freedom. Schopenhauer said, a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. Meaning, when you depend on approval, you lose your true direction. The third pattern is passive learning. You consume, you listen, you watch, but you don't apply, don't test. You don't build. You wait for the next lesson, the next course, the next instruction. And slowly, you become dependent. Not capable. Now here's the truth most people avoid. The system is not designed to make you powerful. It is designed to make you useful. There is a difference. Useful men follow. Powerful men think. And the man who thinks for himself, Becomes Dangeros Machiavelli, understood this. He said a wise man must rely on what he controls, not what others control. And what do you control? Your mind, your effort, your learning. That is where the self-man is born, not in comfort, in frustration, in confusion. In that moment where you realize nitrogen monoxide 1 is coming to figure this out for me. That is the shift. Now let's talk about the wrong path. Because most men feel this, but still go the wrong way. First mistake. Waiting to be taught. You think someone will come and explain everything clearly, step by step. But real learning is messy. It is unclear. It is slow. And no one can do it for you. Second mistake. Over-consuming. You watch videos. You read books. You listen to podcasts. But you don't act. You confuse knowledge with progress. Robert Greene warns about this. He says information without action creates illusion. You feel like you are growing, but nothing changes. Third mistake. Ignoring your own thinking. You doubt your ideas. You second-guess your instincts. You think they must know better. but they don't know your life. They don't know your path. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." But most men look outside and stay lost. Now here is the shift. The self-man does something different. He stops waiting. He starts testing. He learns by doing, not just listening. He builds his own understanding, step by step, and this changes everything. Because when you teach yourself, you don't just learn information. You build judgment. You build confidence. You build independence. Jung spoke about individuation, becoming your own person. Not a copy, not a follower, but a whole man. And that only happens when you stop outsourcing your thinking. Now let's be clear. This is not about rejecting all learning. It is about changing how you learn. You don't just accept ideas. You test them. You question them. You apply them. You make them yours. That is power. Plato believed knowledge without understanding is empty. And most men are full of empty knowledge. The self-taught man is different. He understands because he has lived IT, tested IT, failed with IT, learned from IT. Now I want you to sit with this. Because in the next part, we go deeper. We break down exactly why self-taught men rise while others stay stuck, and how you can start shifting from dependent to dangerous. Why self-taught men rule the world, taught men rise. Now we go deeper. You understand the feeling. You see the problem. Now let's talk about why self-taught men rise while others stay stuck. First, self-taught men trust experience over theory. They don't wait for perfect knowledge. They act. They try. They fail. They adjust. That we learn by doing, not just by thinking. A man who acts learns faster than a man who waits. Second, they build real confidence, not fake confidence, not talk, real confidence. Why? Because they have tested themselves. They have faced problems and solved them step by step. Marcus Aurelius believed confidence comes from proof, from seeing yourself act under pressure. Self-taught men have that proof. Others only have ideas. Third, they adapt fast. They are not stuck in one system, one way of thinking, one path. They change. They learn. They evolve. Lamarck spoke about adaptation. Those who adjust, survive, and grow. Self-taught men live this every day. Fourth, they think independently. This is rare. Most people repeat. They follow. They echo what they hear. But the self-taught man questions. He asks, is this true? Does this work? Does this apply to me? Nietzsche sighed, he who thinks deeply must be alone. Because real thinking is not comfortable. But it is powerful. Fifth, they build skill, not just knowledge. Knowledge is easy to collect. Skill is hard to build. Skill takes time, practice, failure, focus. Self-taught men focus on skill. Because skill creates value, and value creates power. Schopenhauer believed that true value comes from what a man can do, not what he knows. And this is where the gap forms. Now let's talk about something important. Pain. because this path is not easy. You will feel lost. You will feel behind. You will doubt yourself. This is normal. Jung said growth requires facing the unknown. And the unknown feels like chaos. But chaos is where you build strength, not comfort. Comfort makes you soft. Pain sharpens you. Now let's balance this. Does not mean alone forever. IT means you can learn from others, but you don't depend on them. You take what is useful, you leave what is not. You stay in control. Hobbes believed humans seek structure, but too much structure kills freedom. Self-taught men find the balance. Structure from within, not imposed from outside. Now here is the key shift. You stop asking, who will teach me? And you start asking, what can I test today? That question changes everything. Now, in the next part, we build a system so you don't drift, so you don't waste time, so you grow with direction.